Stab 2? Who'd want to do that? Sequels suck.
No, come on, man.
Oh, please. By definition alone, they're inferior films.
In 1997, slashers weren't dead anymore, because a year earlier, Scream stabbed them back to life. And that created a new problem. Scream wasn't just a hit. It was too much of a hit. Suddenly, horror was mainstream again. Studios wanted sequels, and audiences wanted more Ghostface. And the genre that Scream had just rescued was immediately put at risk of repeating those same mistakes. So naturally, the next step was Scream 2. A sequel about sequels. A movie that knew it was being watched through the lens of its predecessor. A film that tried to top the original while actively explaining why sequels were inferior. Scream 2 isn't just more Scream, it's a pressure test. For the franchise, for meta horror, and how much of this stuff the genre can take. So let's talk about how Scream 2 got made, why it's messier than the first one but still fascinating, how it expanded on the meta horror of the first film, and why it's probably the most honest sequel in the franchise. Scream 2 exists because of money. A lot of it. The first film was released quietly in December of 1996, and then kept growing. By early 1997, it was clear they had greenlit a sequel, and Kevin Williamson was obviously brought back to write it. This time he wasn't writing in a vacuum, it was under pressure. But luckily he was ready. You see, when he turned in Scream, originally titled Scary Movie, he had already outlined 2 sequels at the end of that. However, the script had to be bigger, faster, bloodier, and more clever, and be finished quick enough for the film to release in December of 1997. It was chaos. Scripts were rewritten constantly. Pages were being revised on set. At one point, multiple endings were written because supposedly there were leaks online about who the killer was early on. This is something that actually happens in the third movie to the production crew. Wes Craven thankfully returned as director, but this time his job was a little different. Scream was a reinvention and Scream 2 was a balancing act. This sequel was expected to be bigger. More kills, more characters, more commentary.
Nice twist, huh? Didn't see it coming, did ya?
And that expectation becomes part of the movie itself. The returning actors definitely carry the film. Neve Campbell's Sidney Prescott is no longer just a survivor, which Scream 2 uses both as a narrative engine as well as ways to explore trauma within a character. Courtney Cox's Gale Weathers you'd think would maybe grow a little bit since the last movie, but when she first appears, she is pretty much just as awful. She leans even harder into self-interest and ambition. David Arquette is very important to this franchise, man, and it's anytime he's on the screen in this film, especially that little speech he gives about,
how do you know that my dim-witted inexperience isn't merely a subtle form of manipulation used to lower people's expectations, thereby enhancing my ability to effectively maneuver within any given situation?
Like, it's laughable, but it's also earnest, you know what I mean? It's kind of beautiful. But Scream 2 also has a huge supporting cast. Sarah Michelle Gellar, Timothy Olyphant, Jerry O'Connell, Jada Pinkett Smith. This is all intentional.
Just look at the suspects. There's Derek, the obvious boyfriend.
Scream 2 floods us with potential victims.
Mickey, the freaky Tarantino film student.
Anyone could be expendable, anyone could be killed, anyone could be the killer.
But if he's a suspect, so am I. So let's move on.
Maybe you are a suspect.
Well, if I'm a suspect, you're a suspect.
And you know, killing Jada Pinkett inside a movie theater at the Stab premiere is one of the funnest moves this franchise has ever made, opening one of their films. And it's obviously not just a kill, it's a commentary. It's a commentary on audiences cheering on violence while being actively against it somehow. Like the first film, Scream 2 fought constantly with the MPAA for a rating. Violence was trimmed, shots were shortened, and a lot of impact was implied rather than shown. And sometimes it feels like that when that happens in the first film, it kind of heightens it. I think that's one of the weaker elements of this film. If Scream was about horror rules, Scream 2 is about sequel rules. Randy returns with a new list.
Number 1, the body count is always bigger.
Seems to check out, pretty standard.
Number 2, the death scenes are always much more elaborate. More blood, more gore.
I mean, there's some pretty good stuff, but there's also some mid-kills here.
And number 3, if you want your sequel to become a franchise, never, ever...
How do we find the killer, Randy? That's what I want to know.
And he's interrupted during the third rule during the actual cut of the movie. However, the teaser trailer did have a different third rule listed here.
And number 3, never, ever, under any circumstances, assume the killer is dead.
And knowing the rules does not save anyone's life, obviously, as we lose Randy in this film, which is a very interesting decision to make, you know. It's taking our safety blanket away, telling us, get used to it, you're on your own now. You gotta find your own Randy if you're not already that guy in your life. Scream 2 is funnier than people give it credit for. A lot of the humor is darker, less playful, more, cynical. Aside from the visual gags, of course. Luke Wilson's wig comes to mind. Which, the Stab movie parody is brilliant. The college audience cheering on, this movie mimics what happens in real life in movie fandoms. Are we idolizing killers with posters, t-shirts, action figures, all this stuff? It's an interesting discussion one could have, but the whole, do movies cause violence? I appreciated that discussion they have in this film. The ending scene with Cotton, I always chuckle at this scene.
Bet you that Diane Sawyer interview's looking real good right about now.
Consider it done.
And Scream 2 is still packed with references. Some of them are a little more subtle here, some of them are just, brief mentions, but there's an ongoing talk throughout the film where they're talking about sequels. They mention Aliens, Terminator 2.
Got a hard-on for Cameron.
Big one.
House 2, The Godfather 2, The Empire Strikes Back. Later on, when he's talking about, who the killer is influenced by, Randy mentions
A house in Sorority Row, dorm to drip blood, Splatter University, graduation day, final exam.
there's a bunch of other ones that are pretty cool. Obviously, Top Gun.
Tom Cruise, Top Gun, 1986.
Derek, don't.
Showgirls.
What's your favorite scary movie? Showgirls.
Nosferatu even has a small moment. And it's just interesting to see what these characters in this film had to say about those movies. Randy randomly switching to a British accent, which was later revealed to be like an impression of the line producer on set that he just improv'd. Hilarious, but it kind of works, Scream 2's motive isn't about chaos or blood. It's about narrative ownership and who gets to control the story and how it's perceived, which makes the film very ahead of its time. Scream 2 did not have the cultural impact of the first film, but how could it? What it did prove was that Scream wasn't a fluke. Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven work well together. It showed that movies could interrogate themselves in real time. This movie has anxiety about its own existence, you know what I mean? I relate to it. Without Scream 2, there is no long-running Scream franchise. There's no 3, 4, 5, 6, hell, 7 this month. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the highest-rated film in the franchise. This movie captures the fear of success, the terror of realizing, oh crap, now everyone's watching me. You have Sidney, who realizes, yes, everyone's eyes are on me now. I don't want that. And the other side of that is Cotton Weary. He definitely wants it. And even when it stumbles, it never stops asking the most important questions in horror. Who is this for? Is this for the people in the movie? The fans? The people who made the movie? The studios? People selling tickets? As we all know, this did well enough to merit Scream 3. Quick thank you to my channel members and Patreon subscribers. If you want more Ectoviolence, including exclusive videos and behind-the-scenes content, become a member by clicking the links in the description below.